Yeah, we're finding that nowadays lots of Irish people use this service. There's a lot of older Irish guys and girls. There's a few sort of youngish, sort of in their 30s and 40s, but generally we've got a lot of older people that I guess have settled here and just need a bit of community and a little bit of support. So yeah, they come and use our service. We periodically see a lot of people come through here. I mean, it's about 400 people a week generally. And you could kind of get up to 50% Irish at one point. So it's just a flurry of different accents, really. But yeah, there's some younger guys that have come through, and I guess they probably moved to London thinking, you know, it's that sort of city that you can make it and things like that, and then it just doesn't happen. And I think it's a lot of pride, you know. A lot of the guys that I've spoken to, their parents and their family don't know that they're homeless. Because it's this sort of thing of going, yeah, mum and dad, I'm going to go and I'm going to make it in London, and then when they don't, it's sort of like, well, I don't want to appear weak, so they just sort of think, oh, you know what, it'll get better, it'll be fine, I'll get support and I'll get out, and then unfortunately, then it doesn't always work out that way. So, but I think it's quite a hard adjustment, and it's quite a hard life, you know. I know that a lot of them have had hard lives in Ireland, but some of them still prefer the life here to the life in Ireland, and I find that strange, a strange thing to comprehend. Interestingly, like quite a lot of them, you know, they come over here because they've got nowhere else to go. Maybe they've got family, or they don't get on with their family, or their family have died, and so they feel like there's nowhere for them to come home to. And a lot of the Irish that I speak to have this sense of community. So it's usually a small town or something, but there's big well connections there. And I feel as though a lot of them probably feel, well, once my connection to that is gone, I can't connect to that anymore, so I've got to make a life here, which is sad.
Yeah, my dad's from Kerry and my mum's from Donegal, so I'm one of 8. Big Irish family, and again, we've got great empathy and we like feeding people. The Irish love feeding people. So we need help. Homelessness has tripled in the last 2 years, so people are crying out for help. I think this Brexit thing has taken over from the government, and people aren't talking about the homeless and this housing crisis, and it hits anyone. People are only 2 weeks away from being on the streets, so we need to help people. And there's a big crisis out there, there's an epidemic out there, and we need to get the word out there. We need people to help and sponsor Ealing Soup Kitchen. And please, we need it sooner rather than later. It will get worse over Christmas, but it's not just crisis at Christmas, it's a crisis all year round, and we need your help. Please look up the website, Ealing Soup Kitchen.
There's a few things I think that could make anybody end up on the street if they lose their job, they can't pay their mortgage, if they become ill, if a relationship breaks down. Those 3 or 4 things can cause people just to become homeless. It's so simple, and we're just fragile creatures. Any of these things can happen to anybody, you know. You don't have to be sort of a particular type of person for things to happen to you. It can just be life, and, you know, when I look at the faces, look at the faces around here, for instance. They tell a story. They tell a lot of suffering, and they tell a lot of hardship. So I feel very drawn to these people, and I do feel great empathy and compassion for them, quite frankly. I think the system has failed a lot of, you know, it's an awful struggle for people to access the system, and I think Macca does an amazing job here trying to help people to do all of that sort of stuff. But for a lot of people who can't even come out of their homes or out of, I don't know, from wherever they happen to be staying, to access the services, I can just see how easily they can fall apart. Because I know people who have mental illness particularly. And then not to mention those with drug and alcohol problems. It's the same kind of cycle, same scenario, you know.
Because, you know, they've got it advertised everywhere now on the internet, you know, go and find a church to sleep in, overnight, see what it's like to be homeless, but sure, that's not seeing what it's like really, you know, lying in the church, you know, where most, you know, people outside. You know, I think like they could do something like this, or, you know, it's more useful really, you know what I mean? And, you know, I just feel anyway, you know, I think hands-on, you know, rather than, you know, sleeping in a church and get someone to sponsor you and get some money. But, you know, I think if you see the people and you understand the way they're living, you know, it's better.
We do get a lot of Irish people here, and also especially on a Monday. But we'd like a lot more Irish people in, because actually there's a very big Irish community in West London and in Ealing. Huge Irish community, so we'd actually like to spread the word a bit more and say we'd love you to come down. You know, the door is always open. Here we are, and you know, it's Monday to Friday, and then actually they do it on a Saturday and Sunday here at St John's Church, which is Matic Lane. And as you say, the Irish door is always open. You know, please come down.
And you know, we all have our own personal struggles, but one of the things I find about coming to the soup kitchen is that, you know, I think I have my own problems in my own life. I come down here and it puts everything in perspective, because when you see what people have been reduced to, or kind of how they have to struggle, you know, it's it puts your life in perspective. And I come back frequently full of gratitude, and that, you know, that I have a comfortable bed to sleep in, and, you know, it just puts everything in perspective, you know. But yeah.